Welcome to the Orange Brain Cell podcast. Here to answer the question of why Formula E cars scream. I'm Aries.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Auston, and we went to Miami for the FE race this past weekend, thanks to me winning tickets from Neon McLaren. So me and Nick went because I made Nick go slightly.
I mean, I had airline miles and nothing to do with them. So why not? Especially after we were saying there's no reason to go to this race. And spoiler alert, there was almost no reason to go to this race.
Yeah, I almost feel like we would have gotten a similar experience by just watching it on TV.
I think we might have gotten a better experience watching it on TV because I was very confused the whole race about what was physically going on the track that I was at.
Yes, especially because they didn't ever tell us who was using attack mode, when, how much attack mode each driver had left, how much they were using. So it was just very confusing to when it got to the end of the race. If we hadn't have known through social media that a bunch of guys got penalties because they hadn't used their attack mode, we would have been extremely confused why the podium changed.
Yeah, I mean, I was still a little confused about why the podium changed. Luckily, in one of our group chats, it was very clearly explained. I know that, people sitting around us were extremely confused because they barely understood what attack mode was in the first place, never mind the fact that you could get a penalty for not using all of it, and why the red flag didn't change that.
It felt like a lot of people who were at this race didn't actually know what Formula E was. They were just there because there was a race at their local track and it was cheap.
Yeah, it was a lot of Florida locals who like racing and wanted to go because tickets are $40. Which, I mean, I feel that. If they did this at TMS, I would be there. Absolutely. If they had anything at TMS, I would be there. It doesn't matter. When they run dirt at TMS, I go to it. Just because it's racing. So, yeah, but it felt like there were a lot of Daytona Sebring people there, more so than anything else. That seemed to be the bulk of the attendance.
Yes. Which led to us getting multiple compliments about what we were wearing because we wore our Rexy shirts to the Formula.
Ones.
Yes, the lubrication Rexy shirts to the Formula E race in support of Lawrence Vantor and Rexy racing the same day.
Yes, and just Porsche in general, but maybe not FE Porsche.
Not FE Porsche.
It was our best way we could not make people think that we were supporting that team, but support the other Porsches that were racing that day.
Yes.
That was the best we could do.
Yeah, it was our roundabout way of getting there.
And it worked, because it was race car virtue signaling, right?
Yeah.
If you know, you know. So you knew that we were sports car fans, and
yes.
You could then assume that we probably liked all the Porsches in sports cars, which is correct. You would be correct in that assumption.
Yes, including the people who were sitting behind us.
Yes, they were funny.
They were
great. Just massive Porsche fans across all series, including FE. But yeah, the people behind us were quite hilarious because they were just talking about all different Porsches that they support. At one point they were talking about PPM.
Yes.
They mentioned that Pascal is doing Le Mans. That was a topic of their conversation.
Yeah, and probably the best part was when they just started talking about WEC in general, because Nick DeVries was leading the race, and the kid was just Nick DeVries can't lead the race because he races for Toyota.
Yes. That was quite amusing.
So they were definitely huge Porsche fans, and it was a fun experience having them just sitting right behind us.
We ended up in front of them because Homestead Miami has some messed up concepts of what open grandstand seating means. They
not
only
open.
were letting people sit like right in front of the pits. If you wanted to sit down at turn 1 to be able to see more of the track and more of the action, because turn 1 was kind of crazy, people were dropping wheels and stuff, you couldn't do that.
Yeah, it was really weird too, because all of the maps of the track around Homestead showed the grandstands and all of it being open, but actually there it was only the very middle that was open. The staircases were roped off, but then when you actually walked up the ones that were open, you could just walk down the stands to the very end. So that's what we did. There was nothing saying that we couldn't just walk all the way down to the very end of the grandstands and sit down there until literally 10 minutes, maybe even less than that, before the race started. They sent security up and started kicking people out of that section of the grandstands and moving all of us towards the middle.
I debated just leaving at that point. If I was local and if I had my own car there and everything and had just gone for the day because, hey, why not? It's something to do. I might have left at that point, and tried to find somebody on the way out to talk to. Because it was the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen at a race.
Yeah, and so many people were in that area because the staircases got opened. So everyone just went up the first available staircase, and those staircases got opened. So people were just going up there. So then, even then, there was nothing saying that people couldn't sit there because the staircases had been open.
Yeah, and at least the people that we were sitting near, way up high where you could get a really good view of the track, were there because they wanted a good view of the track. They didn't want to just sit right across from the pits where you couldn't really see anything. It's not NASCAR, it's not Formula One, it's not IndyCar, it's not a series where there are a bunch of pit stops that really make a difference in the outcome of the race where you want to sit in front of the pits. That's probably the least desirable to me place to sit. But I think it had to do with wanting everybody as crammed in as possible for them to do crowd shots for television.
Yeah, but it was just the way everything was handled was not good. And it made the experience worse. I agree, it almost felt okay, why am I here? Let's just leave. But at that point, it was we're already here. The race is going to be over pretty quickly. Might as well just sit through it.
An hour-long race or whatever.
Yeah, why not? But it definitely just made everything worse as an overall experience.
Everything about the way that it was organized made it bad as an overall experience. There was nothing to do. We got there early because the first session of the day, the practice session, was at 7:30 in the morning. So we got there at 7:30 in the morning. And, when the practice session was over, there was nothing to do. There were 4 different little activations in the fan zone that you could go to,
that
but
weren't even activations.
Right, they weren't even giving away cool stuff. There were sunglasses, which I do like getting sunglasses from races, so that's cool. Who gave those out? Nissan?
Nissan, yes.
Yeah. So
and then we got, the best thing ever, from NASCAR, zip ties.
Zip ties.
In the NASCAR
this was
colors.
A fan activation.
Yes.
Somebody thought, that this was a fan activation. Like, versus the stuff you get at other races, which, like, can include shirts, which can include ball caps, which can include just cooler stuff. Like, the best thing that we had the ability to get was those sunglasses or a stick of sunscreen.
Yeah.
Like, that was it.
It was literally it. And then the fact they actually didn't lie about having water refill stations, and they gave us cups for the water refill stations that were personalized for the race.
They've got a story on them too about, like, the environment and stuff.
Yes, and like a QR code. But
refillable vessels is what the cups are.
Like, fan handout you got was a cup from the water refill station.
Yeah. It was just overall not a great experience. And then, so we were complaining about the change to the autograph session rules. And, like, since we got there so early, if it had been a first come, first serve thing, we, like, clearly would have been one of the first few hundred people at the track. Like, no doubt. We were probably among the first 50 people at the track.
Yes, and
so
like,
had it been like that, we absolutely would have been able to go to the autograph session, but that's not how it was done.
No, like, we even left and then came back because there was nothing to do. And, like, when we left, there was, like, barely anyone there. And when we came back was, like, when people were, like, finally starting to show up. But even then, it wasn't that many people.
Couple thousand people.
Yeah.
I want to see the numbers for the race because I think it was well under 10 grand.
Yeah.
But, one of my friends was one of, whatever, the first 400 people to get tickets, and her and three other people, so 4 people total, were attending. And for some reason, Formula E sent her 5 codes to get into the autograph session. And she was like, hey, you're going to the race. Do you want the autograph session code? Yeah, sure. Cool. I'll take that. Awesome. We go up there, and they're like, there were obviously 2 of us, and I get my wristband, and they're like, hey, come back at 11 because we're probably going to have wristbands left over. Like, okay, why don't you just give us one now? Like, if you know you're going to have wristbands left over, why not just give us one now? But, like, they even knew that this whole first 400 was ridiculous.
Yeah, and, like, literally, it comes to 11 when you're supposed to start lining up for the autograph session, because if you're not there by 11:45, you can't get in anymore. And they leave to go to the autograph session at 11:30. And we get there, and they're just, like, there's people there just with, like, handfuls of wristbands, just, like, handing them out to people.
If you walked by, they're like, hey, do you want to go to the autograph session? Like, they're holding up a sign that says autograph session and handing out the wristbands. Like, I think there were probably only 75 people in that autograph session group.
Yeah.
The one that we walked in with, like, it was tiny.
It was minuscule. Like, I would say, like, less than 75.
Yeah. Well, and then the autograph session was all screwed up, too. Like,
yeah.
We get walked in there.
And they told the teams a different time than, like, the fans, and they apparently kept changing the time of it for the teams. So the teams didn't actually, like, really know when it was supposed to be.
And there were, like, tour groups in there at the same time, so, like, it wasn't, like, just an autograph session for these people that had the wristbands, like us. It was a whole bunch of tour groups going up and also getting autographs. So, like, at the WEC race, which is probably the closest version of that sort of an autograph session, like, you line up in a certain area, and then at a certain time they let you all go in, and you can go up to different tables at the garages. Very similar to that, like, is how the autograph session was set up at the FE race. But instead of just the people that were in attendance for the autograph session, there were a billion other people there.
Yeah, there were
And
like school
the-
groups and
The
everything.
drivers just like weren't at the tables. Like, we were told it was going to start at 11:30. They were told it was going to start at 11:40, but even at 11:40, there weren't drivers at the tables.
No, and like another thing I noticed, like while the autograph session was going on, Formula E was like interviewing the drivers during the autograph session. So like they would be signing stuff, stop signing so they could do this Formula E side interview and then like get back to signing. So like just even the flow of everything was like off.
Right.
Like
And then, like, in some of the garages, there were VIPs coming out from the garage, like, behind the drivers to get them to sign stuff. So they're turning completely away from the autograph session crowd to interact with those people. It's like everything just didn't make a ton of sense time
that,
wise.
and like the cars were coming back from being out on track while we were in there too. So like
Yeah.
I think Penske's have something with trying to hit us, possibly, is the conclusion we came to. Because DS Penske almost hit us with both cars.
Both cars.
Just like how at Petite last year, the 6 almost hit us. So maybe it's a Penske thing.
Maybe
with
it is
just
a
trying
Penske
to hit
thing.
us.
It is. It is. At this point, I am convinced you somehow painted a target on your back, and they're just like, oh yeah, it's these two again.
Except it's not our back. It's like front on
Yes.
hitting us with these
So what
Penskes.
happened is that Roger was made aware of us by his drivers, and he sent his son a picture of us and was like, you gotta hit these two with your cars.
Execute Order 66.
But speaking of DS Penske and their drivers, when I picked a team to support and a driver to support, one of the reasons that I chose Jev was because I had met him like multiple times in the past, and I had my picture from 2013, and I showed that to him, and I was like, yeah, can we get another picture? And he's like, wow, that's from F1. Like, he was just blown away that I had a picture with him from when he was in F1. And I'm like, yeah, I do. So we got a new picture. Why can't I make it not have glare in it? There we go. We got a new picture. So I have a new computer, so my backlighting's a little different. We'll figure out how to not make glare in the future. But yes, got a new picture with Jev, so I feel like even though the autograph session had issues, it was successful.
Yeah, and like my thing for races is I have the hat wall, which we can all see behind me. So I always get hats signed. And we got 2.
Yeah,
Mission accomplished on hats getting signed. Norman Nato, at least he picked this spot because he was one of the last guys to sign and had nowhere else. Unlike Nick Tandy, who picks the top of the hat even when there's only 2 other signatures on it and has all the room to not sign it on the top.
I thought it was funny with my DS hat that, like, so Max signed it first and signed it in like a very logical place to sign a hat on the edge. And then I figured Jeff would sign it over here on the other edge, which is like the logical place. Nope, he signed it right in the middle.
I mean, Jeff was like the last one to do my hat, and you can barely see it because he used his gold Sharpie, but he signed it like right in the middle, almost on top of the other ones. Whereas, like, so I had my standalone McLaren hat, and like the boys used paint markers, not Sharpies, but we've got gold and silver, so
Very
we've
nice.
got color options. And
I do like the fact that on my, hat they used gold because that's like, team color.
I feel
and
like
gold,
they
so.
only had gold Sharpies.
They did only have gold Sharpies.
Wait, actually, no, not true.
Not true?
My other signature from DS Penske is in black.
So Max did have black Sharpies?
Had a black Sharpie.
Good job, Max.
So.
Jeff probably had one Sharpie and just didn't put it down.
Yeah. But like so many of them didn't even have Sharpies. It was just paint pens.
Yeah. And I guess maybe the craziest thing that happened at the race, actually, was the national anthem that we didn't realize was the national anthem.
No, because it sounded nothing like a national anthem. And that's because, Miami, we like our house music. We apparently took our liking of house music a little far, okay, and made the national anthem house music edition, which I'd like to know Taylor Barnard's opinion on the national anthem, because according to the back of his driver card, his favorite music is house music. We talked about the French bracket last episode, and we hinted at the Danish bracket. We've got the Danish bracket results. We ran it on Instagram and Twitter, and this time it was not unanimous, so we got different results on our platforms. It came down to the same two on both platforms, so it was the battle of drivers who at one point have driven a pink Porsche.
Yes.
So Iron Dames, we had Michelle. And then we, from PPM, had Michael Christensen.
Found my Iron Dames card. It doesn't have a picture of Michelle, but it has her name on it. So, like...
Close enough.
Bam.
There we go. Yeah. So, Michael won on Instagram. Michelle won on Twitter by a decent amount.
That's because all of our friends on Twitter are diehard Iron Dames fans.
Yes.
Maybe
so
aren't diehard Pink Pig fans, except me.
Yes.
You did try to influence things on the Twitter side a bit, just a tiny bit.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure I tweeted vote for Michael like 27,000 times.
I was about to say, I think I also did.
You might have.
We tried to influence it. It didn't work. But we tried.
Yes.
So basically what we need now is a race-off between the two in a pink car. Who wins is the winner of the bracket. Because, they won in separate places.
Are we going to put them in cars and have them race? Like, I'm assuming that... I don't know. Is the current car faster than the RSR?
We'll have to find out. But I'm...
Please make this happen.
I'm also picturing, like, how Travis was talking about, like, driving garbage trucks.
Yes.
Imagining just putting them both in a garbage truck.
And painting it pink?
And painting it pink. And
Pink
having
garbage
them
truck.
drive pink
Okay,
garbage
but, like,
trucks.
The Pink Pig is still a functional car because it still does show runs.
Yeah.
So stick Michael in that and have, like, okay, so they're both Porsche drivers, so they can both turn Weissach times. That needs to happen.
And right now, we're running the British bracket, which took a lot of work to create.
And some grok.
It did.
Yes, because we all like very different British drivers. Oops. So...
It worked out, though. I mean, we made it work.
We made it work, but...
It's being run differently than the previous brackets because there was just no way to do it without making conferences, the sports car conference and the open wheel conference.
Yes, and so you will get the results of that bracket
next week. When we run the Oceania bracket.
Yeah. And then
I guess
we're just got more and more lists after that.
We need to run 16 brackets, or at least 8 brackets, so that we can have the ultimate people off.
Yes.
Wherein I will implore everybody to vote for Kevin.
Of course you would.
Of course you would. For Kevin.
We still have to wait to see the other results of our other brackets before I definitively pick someone.
For Kevin. I'm just saying, of the ones we have right now, vote for Kevin.
Vote for Michael.
Are we giving Michael the win?
Well, we're gonna have to run it on Insta and Twitter, so on Insta, we're gonna put Michael.
Okay, but Michael doesn't care that he won.
True.
Kevin cares that he won.
So
Kevin
you know what?
reacted to the vote for Kevin.
Vote for Kevin.
Vote for Kevin.
Vote for Kevin.
Kevin, please don't listen to this episode. Not that you can, hear us while we're recording.
Until we run Oceania and see who wins that, and then that might change things for us.
Vote for Scott
And
Dixon.
then we need to...
No, vote for Matt Campbell.
Scott Dixon.
Matt Campbell.
Scott Dixon.
Matt Campbell.
It's gonna be fun times in the
Scott
group
Dixon.
chat, that's for sure.
Matt Campbell.
And there he is. Scott Dixon. My new computer has a much better camera, so I can, use my props. I do have Matt, though. There's Matt.
Yeah, vote for Matt.
Alex is in the thing
Yes.
today.
Vote for Alex.
Tom.
Yes, vote for Tom as well.
I don't have anybody else, quickly available. They're just on the top of my pile of cards that's about that big.
Well,
and it's growing.
no, here.
Oh, wait, hold on. I do have another one.
Vote for Taylor
Tandy!
Barnard.
No, vote for Tandy!
Vote for Taylor Barnard.
Tandy!
Okay, so we know the way I end this podcast is with the famous last words, stay orange. I guess we can say it's getting a bit more real now because just this last week we got the announcement. Finally, I guess people that used to say when pigs fly, we have pigs flying because McLaren is coming to Hypercar in 2027. They didn't mention anything about IMSA, but another manufacturer on the grid, the more the merrier. So welcome McLaren.
Yes, and obviously I think everyone should not be surprised I'm excited about this news because I'm a McLaren fan, but I'm excited about it in a way that's probably not how people think. I think people are going to expect that McLaren Hypercar is now going to be my team, and I'm not going to like Alpine anymore, and I'm not going to like PPM anymore.
Judging.
This is weird. I'm just gonna block Nick on my view right now.
I take it away. He's not judging you anymore.
And that's not the case. I am excited to have a physical McLaren in WEC. When it comes to WEC, I'm much more of a driver fan. I support my drivers and whatever team they're with at the moment. So I'm happy there's a McLaren. Yes, I also like Alex, so I'm supporting his car as well.
Just pulling out people that I know you like
Yes.
that happen to be in my pile.
But it's really going to be United Autosports guys that are driving a McLaren around in Hypercar, and I'm not a United Autosports fan. Except for when, Tom Blomqvist used to do stuff in United, so then I was. I'm not a United fan. I don't support, the guys that are United guys, really. They're
These
neutral
guys.
for me, so I don't see this car being, my car. I feel like people expected it to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be I assume, and we could be completely wrong, it could be a totally in-house McLaren project, but I fully expect it to be a United Autosports project. It's going to be all their drivers, it's going to be all their engineers, all their mechanics, they're probably shuttering their other programs to do this. Is what I'm guessing.
Or, significantly decreasing.
Yeah.
If not, completely shutting everything.
So it's just gonna be United Autosports running a McLaren. The McLaren's just gonna be the car. It's not going to really be a McLaren team.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, United Autosports kind of already is sort of a McLaren team because Zach Brown owns them.
Yes.
So it's it's not going to be a McLaren team, but at the same time, it is going to be a McLaren team.
It's a weird, middle ground situation.
You know who used to be a McLaren driver?
Kevin.
That would throw everyone for a loop.
Me and you were joking when it got
announced.
That's
a long time ago.
We literally...
It was a very long time ago,
It was a very... We literally were joking about this, I think, while driving down to Miami. We were like, plot twist. Kevin is now going to be doing Hypercar with McLaren.
I definitely don't think that's gonna happen.
Not happening, but it was just
I also
joke.
didn't think that Andre, at his stage of his career, was going to just up and leave, a German team as a German guy to go start up a new team. So who knows? Kevin could leave. Then you'll have me being a McLaren fan.
Yeah. Something will be weird there. I'll be
Plot
a Porsche
twist.
fan still, and you'll be the McLaren fan.
And I'll just be in the middle wondering what in the world is going on. Have we all gone crazy?
Yes.
I mean, we know someone here is going to be supporting one of the United cars at Le Mans this year, because I think a certain Mr. Renger is going to be in one of the cars.
He is. I'm supporting that car because he's in it, but I still don't really like the team.
Yeah, it goes back to the case of like supporting drivers over team.
I haven't actually decided what my number one LMP2 is for Le Mans.
There's too many.
There are too many good ones.
There's too
many
options.
I'm pretty sure it's Renger, but Andre's doing it. And wouldn't it be fun to see Andre win?
Yeah, but
or it could be a ridiculous year, and Andre could get another overall win, but in P2.
I mean, anything's possible.
It's suddenly 2017 again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Because it's happened before, so...
Yeah.
It's highly unlikely with this current field of hypercars, but...
You never know.
Something could happen.
Can't count anything out.
I want the 6 to win. Give me the 6 winning overall, which isn't gonna happen because that car is not being allowed to be fast this year, so we're very upset about this. One thing that I've seen people kind of contemplating online is the disparity in the results of PPM in IMSA versus in WEC. IMSA having 3 wins with double podiums versus in the first WEC race finishing 10th and 11th.
Hell yeah.
Aries.
Did you just whip out a flag?
Where did that come from?
It is.
I'm sorry. Where did that come from?
There you go, Aries.
That was just so random.
That was amazing.
I had it here awaiting. I remembered I had this weekend, and I was
props.
Let me surprise them. I have a prop.
That was great.
That was great, but I was just like, where the hell did he get that from?
We're Brazilians. We all hang flags from our balconies and windows when the World Cup is on.
That is true. Should have thought about that.
Yes. Have we not gone over Aries' nationalism every episode? I'm not actually shocked he's wrapping himself in a flag.
No, I'm not. But it was just... It came out of nowhere.
It did.
All of a sudden, he just had a Brazilian flag. I didn't even see the man, grab it. It just appeared.
That was great. But, yes, people have been questioning how it's possible that, essentially the same car is doing so well in one series and then, failed to score points with the car in, the other series. And it's the driver ballast thing. The lineups in WEC don't make sense.
It's almost like we've said this before.
Yes, and obviously the people that are confused about this have not been listening to us rant about driver ballast and how it harms the PPM lineups specifically, because they probably have the biggest weight disparities in the entire field.
I think we wait and see what happens this weekend, because I think the BOP figures have been published already. But yeah, we need to wait for Sunday to come around and we see what happens then.
Yeah,
hopefully
Porsche
they're not
did lose weight.
languishing around the rear. hopefully they're not languishing around the tail end of the points. I say this is a red car, man.
It's just not going to be as exciting if there's like an additional car that is not truly competitive, right? Like there were several cars last year that weren't truly competitive. And you want to bring cars further towards the sharp end, not send them back. And if the driver ballast is only affecting one team, then changing the way that BOP is calculated to include the driver ballast is only going to impact one team. It's not going to negatively impact all the other teams. It's just going to bring Porsche back into the conversation for, being competitive in the races, which is the point of BOP.
Yes.
Like, it's not BOP if you have cars running around, a second slower a lap. That's not how BOP works.
No.
Correct.
And then, I guess, staying on the topic of Porsches, Michelle Gadding was announced to be doing the Nürburgring 24 hours, but she's doing it in the GT4 class because that's the level of permitting she has. Why her permitting hasn't been handled prior to now, like why she doesn't have a higher level permit for the Nürburgring, is beyond me. That seems like something the Iron Dames should have taken care of previously. There are enough races there that you can do to get that handled. The only thing that I can think is it's actually an intentional thing.
Yeah.
So she can go for a GT4 win, as opposed to just being in the conversation in a competitive GT3 field. It is a mixed gender car, so that's good.
Yeah, I feel like it's also...
Yeah.
It creates a good story as well.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her career, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's a little discouraging, it's a little painful, because she has no business being in the Iron Dames car anymore. She should be in a full Manti effort. She should be in Rexy. She should be somewhere that isn't in the Iron Dames car. I get that she only just, this is her first year as a Porsche factory driver. I get that. But it just feels like she should be doing more than what she's doing now. And I hope that next year she will be doing more. She did say that this is like the first step to her being able to do the Nürburgring next year in GT3, so that's good. Maybe that will be in, competitive team. I mean, pretty much all the Porsches there are very competitive, so she should be well set, but it just feels like the Dames are fumbling her, Porsche's fumbling her, that I don't know what they're planning to do with her, and it just doesn't make sense.
I think it's really like, at least the Porsche side of things, I feel like we can't truly judge it until next year. Like, give her a year of being within the program and seeing what Porsche does next year to truly be able to rule if they fumbled it or.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I mean, we need to. I feel like they're sort of easing her into a spot in one of their GT3 911s next year. I think maybe right now it's a bit too early to call things, but yes, I do think she remaining only in the sort of Iron Dames bubble is not really what she needs at the moment, especially if we're talking about an expanded program for her next year.
The Dames do race against guys, but they don't race in the same car as guys. And I think that's really going to be a good way to kind of see how she measures up to everybody else.
Yeah, I almost feel like that's what this kind of is.
Yeah, oh, for sure. GT World Challenge Europe had the race at Hypercar this week, or this past weekend, and it was pretty good for Porsche, and for our guys that we like, our besties there from Rexy. Lauren Heinrich and Klaus Bachler, and they had Chan Guven in the car with them. They came in third, and Alessio Piccarello came in second, so very good weekend. Podium for all of our Rexy boys.
Yes.
Yeah, the teams they managed to they played their cards well with the full course yellow. When it happened, they were like they stopped when they needed to, and that's what put them in. They were 1-2 for quite a good amount of time, but well, until the WRT freight train pretty much came along and swept by them. Honestly, what is up with that team this year? Because they've taken the Dubai 24 hours, they won the Bathurst 12 hours, and now they won the 6 hours of Paul Rickard. Yeah, what is up with them? They're doing what PPM is doing, but in SRO GT3. Honestly, I thought, yeah, no one's gonna take this away from them, and no one did.
Yeah, I mean, they were also incredibly strong. BMWs were at Macau.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't
Yeah.
sweep everything, but they were very strong at Macau. That was when I first started thinking, oh, this is going to be BMW's year, man, like with how strong they were looking.
And here we are.
Doesn't help that they also have their new the Evo car this year, so they're like, yay, my dust.
Yeah, they are
just
a
going to
step
win
ahead.
everything.
Yeah. Can't forget that.
But Porsche is sort of kind of launching their Evo car. They're doing a in-race test that Lauren Heinrich is one of the drivers for, so that's really cool.
Yes.
They literally announced that today.
Yeah.
So
very confusing, but we'll take it.
They're like, we're still developing this, but we're gonna race with it.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Cool.
Okay.
It's a very very Porsche thing to do.
Yes.
I thought they would do it at the Nürburgring, because you can do that in the Nürburgring, because there is a clause for cars that are not homologated. I didn't know you could do that in a 24-hour series.
Yeah, I didn't either. I guess because that series does have looser rules.
Yeah.
That could be why.
They also have very, very weird race format.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you think the name of the race is, oh, the 12 hours of Spa, so you think, oh yeah, it's gonna be a 12-hour race. But if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be 6 hours on Saturday and 6 hours on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a two-part
Make it
race.
make sense.
I mean, it's technically 12 hours, just in a roundabout way.
Racing occurs for 12 hours, just not continuously.
They never said it had to be continuously.
So the Asian Le Mans series could technically say their races are 8 hours long, because they do double header.
Yes. Yes, they could.
They could. If they really wanted to. They could.
You know, while we're talking about race length, I forget how short of a race Long Beach is.
Yes.
Until I'm watching Long Beach, and I'm like, why are we having an hour and 40-minute race?
Yeah.
It's a baby.
Every time I watch Long Beach, I'm like, I expect it to be longer. And then, the end comes around, and I'm like, oh yeah. That's it.
Yup.
It's funny because I don't know what it is. An F1 race or an IndyCar race takes up almost the amount, the exact same time, 90 minutes, an hour and 40, 1 hour 45, and they seem to take longer than Long Beach did. It felt like the end came around just like this.
Yeah, because there's
that quickly.
action in IMSA races, and there is not as much action in F1 races.
But I'm just saying, I couldn't watch it because I was driving me and Nick back from Miami. So Nick's watching it on her phone while we're driving. And so I'm just getting Nick's commentary about the race, And
My commentary was fantastic.
But I only felt like the commentary lasted for like 20 minutes. Like, it felt so short. I was like, what do you mean the race is over already?
Yeah, it was a very short race.
Yeah, like when you were like, oh, driver changes, I was like, what do you mean already?
Well, no, so the first stints were incredibly short.
Yes.
Jam was in the car for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but it felt even shorter than that.
Yeah.
It did feel.
It did. There was lots of, oh, they're coming up on Larry again. Larry, you better let Matt through.
It was a very, very hectic day because I spent the whole afternoon following the 6 hours at Paul Rickard, so that's why I missed Formula E. And then when it came to the final hour of GT World Challenge Europe, IMSA started. So I was sort of jumping back and forth between the broadcasts because I only had one screen. I managed it, but
we were keeping up with GT World Challenge Europe by Instagram stories from the drivers that we follow.
Yeah.
There were like 1 hour update, 2 hour update. So between all the different people that we follow that were doing that race, we got lots of updates.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a crazy, hectic weekend.
It really was.
There was obviously also an IndyCar race, which was late enough the next day that I was able to get home, go to brunch, and then get back and watch the IndyCar race. My travel schedule was ridiculous this past weekend, but
Can confirm, we got up very early so that I could drop you off at the airport.
Yes, very early. But yes, IndyCar. Kiffin got a top 10 finish. Good job.
Yeah.
Win for the Kiffin-Simpson agenda.
Woo!
I
mean,
he was like doing really well he led the race, which was on strategy, but still, like, he was ahead of Scott for a good chunk of the race.
We also can't forget Stingray Rob finished in the points too.
Stingray Rob.
Yes. Yeah, he
drivers,
finished
I feel
top
like
10 as well.
We didn't expect to be in the top 10. We're in the top 10 this race.
Yeah. And like Kiffin ran a very similar strategy to Scott, which was interesting. Because normally people are not trying to run Scott's strategies. But Scott also didn't run a super Scott strat. I don't know that you can fuel save anymore with the hybrid, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that the weight of the hybrid is making fuel save, like the hardcore fuel saves that like Rossi does, that Scott does, it's making them obsolete.
Yeah.
The car's just consuming too much fuel.
That's annoying. I missed the crazy fuel saves and coming back from the back of the field to run out of fuel after winning in the first corner. That happened once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, I feel like it's going to cause very monotonous races. I mean, it honestly felt like Pelot's just gonna win this one too. I mean, he didn't, but as soon as he was in second, it was like, okay, more of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like so many people were like excited with the end result of this race, just because it was not Pelot that won and we got a different podium.
Kyle's also probably one of the more popular drivers. I think Kyle has a ton of fans, so that was part of it too, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I think people, there's always the joke, insert driver or team here, dominance is going to bore fans. Like, you do run the risk if Pelot is just going to dominate the entire season of people not caring, because sort of what you were saying, Aries, like, you're not having people being able to fuel save their way from 15th to winning.
I was thinking now, like, how did we get here? Like, usually when you think of, single driver domination, my mind at least immediately goes, it's a very F1 thing. But now we're getting that in IndyCar as well. Like, I think it was 23 when it was the first time in God knows how many years that we didn't have a title fight go all the way to the end of the
Yeah.
season. It was Palou.
Yeah.
And then last year, Palou won the title again. And then the season, 2 out of the 3 races, Palou won again. And at this, you're just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Give him the championship already, because no one can match that.
Yeah, and because it's a spec series, there aren't going to be significant changes throughout the season. It's not like in F1, oh, we're bringing an entirely new aero package. Like, there's tiny changes you can make, but honestly, it's pretty locked in about how people are going to be. Like, Ganassi's fast. Penske seems like they're falling off a cliff. Andretti's good if they aren't screwing themselves with strategy. And one of the Arrow McLarens is doing really well. Not quite sure about the other two. I mean, Nolan Siegel is like down at the bottom of barely being in the leader's circle. Which I get it, he had a DNF, but he also hasn't been performing.
Yeah, like, he's barely getting points.
So, I mean, it's not the car.
No. And, like, yeah, maybe some of it is on strategy, but not all of it.
Yeah. And then my gripe with IndyCar is, why is it suddenly hard and soft tires instead of primaries and alternates? Because, like, that's a thing. Like, the tires are primaries and alternates. Why are we all of a sudden, even on the graphics, it's not, because I was saying, oh, it's probably just Will Buxton using, F1 terminology. Now, the graphics say hard and soft.
Yeah. Like, even when they were describing the tires, they were like, this is the soft tire because it's the alternate. And I'm like, just say it's the alternate tire. That's what we've been saying. Why are we changing it?
Yeah, the fact that it's got a little S and a little H on the graphics, just like F1 does, like, why have we changed that? Like, I get trying to ride the Drive to Survive wave, but, like, don't change the sport to try and capture Drive to Survive fans. Show them why IndyCar is something else.
And it's also just like,
Exactly.
It doesn't make that big of a difference. There was no reason to change it.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It's like 2 words, okay? It's not that hard to learn. I also feel like it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah. I mean, you get told once that the alternates are the soft tires, and you can remember that. You don't need to have them be called the soft tire.
And it's always been this way in the road course races. Oh yeah, that driver is they're going to focus on running the primaries. There's other guys going to try and make the alternates work, making more stops and whatever. It's getting this whole. It's like you said. It's unnecessary change. It's just I don't know. It's trying to be something they're not. Perhaps.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll talk about NASCAR now. I feel like if you haven't heard the news, it was kind of hard to miss it because it crossed over series, but John Edwards, who is a very well-known figure in NASCAR within Hendrick Motorsports, passed away, and it was very well talked about on the NASCAR broadcast. He was honored in, like, team communications before the race that were broadcasted, in the broadcast itself, in, like, post-race interviews. And then he was on all of the Hendrick cars in the Cup Series, but then also on the 17 in Xfinity, which won in Xfinity, so there was, like, a whole thing during the podium celebration, too. And then in IndyCar, they also honored John Edwards when Christian Lundgaard was on the podium, and he was on all of the IndyCar Arrow McLarens as well because of the connection between doing the double of those teams. So it was nice to see John get, like, the recognition he deserved from the series that he's been part of for such a long time. And
I mean, the first way that I saw it was just an Instagram post, and I was like, That's weird. Like, I haven't heard that anywhere. And then I look and I see that it's Jeff Gordon's account. And I'm like, oh, crap, that's real. Like, that's obviously an actual thing if Jeff Gordon's posting it. So,
Yeah,
that was, like, it blindsided, I think, everybody because he was not old. Like, he was born in the 70s. So.
Yeah, it was like one of those things where when I saw it, I didn't like see what account had posted the announcement. So I was like, this isn't true. And then like I looked and I was like, Hendrick posted it. It's definitely true. And like every post this weekend that like Hendrick made, like said for John in it in like some way. So he was a big focus of the race this weekend. And then speaking of the race this weekend, Kyle Larson has kind of got himself into some controversy because of an interview he gave where he basically said the only reason he does Xfinity races like he did this weekend that he won is in order to embarrass his competitors, but also to embarrass NASCAR as a whole for not letting Cup drivers do Xfinity like they used to and limiting them, because he sees this as a way to make the kids, as he said it, realize they aren't all that and aren't ready for the jump to Cup Series, which got him a lot of heat.
I mean, he goes in and embarrasses everybody when he does Xfinity, but not all Cup drivers do. So, I mean, yes and no. Like, I understand where he's coming from, like, for him speaking for himself.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't happen every single week that there's a Cup driver that they go out and just lay waste to these Xfinity guys.
No, and also, I feel like at the same time, like, if I'm an Xfinity driver and, like, Kyle Larson is coming and racing in an Xfinity, like, I would be excited to be able to have the opportunity to challenge Kyle Larson and, like, show who I am against Kyle Larson. Like, I would be taking that challenge. So, like, I don't see it as a negative thing of Kyle Larson coming in and, like, putting all his effort in like he normally does when he does an Xfinity race. It lets these guys that are trying to make it to Cup Series, like, really try to prove themselves and put up the challenge.
Yeah. And then I didn't watch the Cup race, but I heard that it was very boring and nothing happened in it. And I saw a tweet today that was quite funny. It said there were more lead changes in the golf game than the NASCAR race.
Yeah, and that's kind of always been a point of conversation with this generation of car is we're not getting the same racing we used to. We're not getting passing and things like that. It's not competitive anymore, which Larson and the 5 team had comments about of like how they're okay with that, which obviously you're going to be okay with that if you're the guy it's benefiting. So
right.
The other guys that it's not benefiting obviously aren't going to be happy with it. So everyone has their own opinions on this generation of car just because of the way the racing's changed, and one of the side effects of it seems to be that passing just isn't the same as it used to be in NASCAR.
It's film review time again. Shake and Bake Sports Speed Golf, which is a video that Jesse Love and Connor Zilic and some other people did. I don't know who the other people were. Maybe I'm supposed to know who they were, but I didn't.
They're drivers and, like, they're friends.
I knew Jesse and Connor, and that was it. So that was fun. They didn't explain to me who the people were. There were no intros like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is why you should know me. It was just like, here we are playing golf.
It was very much so like the video was just like bros hanging out and we're just filming it.
Yes. I got a question. Jesse, why were your feet out on the golf course?
I feel like it had to do with the fact of Speed Golf was talking about how like they had to constantly be in motion and like running to the ball and everything, so maybe he just thought he would be better if he didn't
with his
have
feet out?
shoes on. I don't know his logic. I don't think it worked because he wasn't good.
No, I think him and Connor hit someone's house with their golf balls.
Yeah,
because they just magically, like, they hit it and you could see in the little trajectory it went woo, and then magically they were golfing from the cart path.
they dropped their balls. Like, they were good in the sense they finished in the top 3, but like not actually good in their golf skills.
Yes. Had this come out like before, an hour before we were recording or whatever, we could have had Morgan on to analyze their golf. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Maybe, yeah. I feel like she would have a lot of comments, especially about their attire, because most of them were just wearing tennis shoes. And then obviously,
and hoodies.
Jesse.
I thought you needed to wear a collared shirt to play golf. Like, I thought that was a rule.
No. Also, Connor, while running, was so committed to the Red Bull hat, he was just holding his hat, like, while running, trying to make sure it didn't fall off. Like, he had to make sure the sponsor was visible.
Yes. Yeah, speed golf seemed kind of silly.
Yeah.
I don't understand the rules either, because, like, was it just based on time, or was it based on how many hits it took you to get the ball in the hole? I don't know golf terminology.
I think it was just based off time. But then also they were like adding and subtracting time for like certain things, but not really saying why they were adding and subtracting time. So I was just slightly confused.
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
Jesse's time just changed, and they didn't really say why Jesse's time just changed.
But that was a
I'm
fun
curious now.
film.
I'm gonna give it a watch after we're done here because I wanted to see it and I couldn't. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, it just felt like a bunch of frat bros hanging out.
Yes.
I mean, it's Jesse and Connor we're talking about. Are we surprised?
Oh no, not at all.
I've pretty much come to the conclusion that the Bahrain International Circuit has been put under a curse this year because all sorts of crazy stuff have been going on with Formula One in there. We had rain, we had a power cut, and then in the Grand Prix there were lots of little technical woes that affected a bunch of drivers, mainly George Russell and Lando Norris, and also a bit of Charles Leclerc. But yeah, what in the world, honestly?
Yeah, and then I still don't quite understand what happened with George Russell's DRS. Like,
Yeah.
it malfunctioned and they had to use a backup DRS button, which was also the radio button, and he tried to radio the team and opened the DRS when it wasn't allowed to be opened.
Which I feel like should not be the backup button for your DRS. Like, I feel like your
Agreed.
radio button should never be a backup button for something else.
I just want to know how the radio button, being the backup button for the DRS, just let the DRS be opened at a random point in the track, not in the DRS zone.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about this radio/DRS button.
F1's just in a shambles this year, is what I've determined.
Yes.
Yes.
If I said this a couple weeks ago, like, I have not been, I don't know, it has not really made me feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, like in the previous Asian races, I was like, no, I'm not gonna stay up late, early to watch it because, I don't know, it's just not worth it. Like this race in Bahrain, I caught a bit of it, but I don't know, it didn't feel like previously in previous seasons. Something feels off this year, but I can't really determine what.
Yeah, same. Like, there's something that isn't driving me to watch F1 every race, but I'm not sure what it is, because, like, it feels like the season where it seemed like Max was going to win every race was somehow more interesting than this season so far.
I was gonna say, like, I'm having the same issue where, like, I so far haven't been able to watch, like, the races because of just, like, my work schedule and everything, so I've been, like, trying to go back and watch them, and even then it's, like, trying to find time to, like, really be interested in going back and watching the races is hard, and, like, I felt like going into the season I expected to be, like, more interested because a lot of drivers I followed for, like, F2 are on the grid now, so I was like, oh, I'll be, like, more likely to follow it because there's more drivers that I've just followed for, like, a significant amount of their careers, and now I want to see them in F1. And that's not even pushing me to, like, want to go back and watch the races.
Well, something that's been pretty much pissing people off in F1 this year, the graphics, the TV graphics. Some people were talking about, oh yeah, Rolex stepped out, Tag Heuer came in, but like some stuff didn't need to be changed just because you switched the title sponsors. Like, it was fine the way it was. Some of it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why the graphics are like that. I mean, they're still better than IndyCar. The IndyCar graphics have been unusable this year.
We'll say that they're all better than NASCAR.
Yes. NASCAR just doesn't have graphics for half the race. And I don't
Why are my
why.
drivers cartoons? Like, IndyCar did it for one race and then was like, we're ditching that. Why are we still doing it in NASCAR? I hate the cartoons so much. Spotter stand topic for this week comes from an actual spotter, Jesse, who's Kyle Kirkwood's spotter. He put out a tweet and it just said, Christian Lundgaard, pay attention to him. And you should pay attention to him because he seems to be the only McLaren that can get results right now.
We, today, launched our YouTube channel, so you can find us on YouTube now at Orange Brain Pod, and on everything else, also at Orange Brain Pod. Thank you for listening. On Twitter, Nicole is at Cars on the Street, Auston is at Hendrick Claren, Aries is at Aries_Alpenglow.
Stay orange.